Johnson, you were asked to commit a blatant disregard for your cultural heritage. You were asked to be sensitive in an insensitive situation. You were asked to be a man when you are just a 16-year-old boy. Andrew Johnson, you are a person who has been forced into the limelight for something that you didn't want to be acknowledged for. Because it's already tough enough being a black kid in America. Now, being a black kid in America for you is going to become a lot more difficult.
Yo, Pierre, you want to come out here?
So for all of you guys don't know what I'm talking about or who Andrew Johnson is, this is the lovely 16-year-old boy who was forced to cut his hair by a racist referee. End of story. No, seriously, that's the end of the story. I wish there was more I could say that could probably make you feel better about this situation, but as we dig deeper, we're going to find out that, you know, racism has a really big issue, and I think the issue is racist. It's just that simple. But let's take a closer look at probably 3 things that should change in the near future to guarantee that this situation never happens again. Andrew Johnson is a New Jersey boy who wrestles for a local high school, and he has the luxury of going out week in and week out to train his mind, body, and soul to become a better person, using what he's learned on the mat to progress and become a better person in life. How unfortunate that the people around him are not fortunate enough to have grasped that concept at a younger age. Andrew Johnson was betrayed by not only his teammates, his opponents, the district, the schools, the rules, and every single person in that auditorium who stood by idly and watched this boy be humiliated, desecrated, and disrespected. Every single person, from the guy in the background saying that this couldn't be my son, to the trainer who seemed perplexed or confused at how to cut his hair, the teammates who came and gave him a pat on the shoulder saying that he was a good guy for doing this, and even the coaches not withdrawing the student out of this tournament in an effort to preserve his dignity. You see, for you to understand this racist ref, you have to understand where he comes from. And for you to understand where this racist ref came from, you have to understand the people who employed him. This lovely organization is responsible for hiring this scumbag. But 2 years ago, he was reprimanded for calling another black referee the N-word. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. It's annoying at best. If this wasn't a clear-cut sign that he had no business being around students, talk less of deciding the fate of these students, what gave this arbitrary notion to the council that things would get better if he stayed in the organization? This is my second issue with this outrage that's going on right now. Where the fuck was all this outrage when this guy was hired in the first place? And this goes without saying, this is not about all white people, but in order to keep the flow going, we're going to say all white people. White people tend to have an issue with having to call out other white people on their bullshit. Because no one in this audience, and I counted at least 12 white people, stood up for this young gentleman. But we see clearly white people coming to his defense on the internet. White people who love to protect black people on the internet are scarcely or rarely found protecting black people in the streets. In the rare occasions that these people do step up, for example, Barbecue Becky was chased off by a lovely white lady, but it took this situation to be escalated to an officer being called before this lady showed up. If we were taking steps such as the systematic structural foundation that is built around keeping our society whole and made it more inclusive to really keep all of the people in our society together and happy and whole, maybe we wouldn't have to resort to running to the aid and defense of our own community. But until we get some real change on the base level and start getting a little bit of diversity in the world that we have been living in now for over 400 years, things aren't looking too swell for us as far as the change department is concerned. And that should be concerning. And the third thing I want to bring up about this topic is the hair. I think it's really important that people stop making hair such a big issue, especially when it's not something that you can dictate for other people. I have had the luxury of being 6'5", 300 pounds, black, Muslim, and educated. It's a blessing, really. It's one of the best things that have ever happened to me in my life. But you want to know something that's unique about this situation? Only 2 things in that whole list I described was up to me. Being Muslim and being educated were things that I decided to be. Being black, being big, being sexy, those are things I cannot control. So it's amazing to me that Alan Malone thinks that he can control those things, such as people's hair. And just so we're clear, the rule books have nothing in them that stated that Andrew was wrong here. He had proper headgear. It's just that the ref found it to be giving him an advantage against the other wrestler who he beat convincingly. This was a bias. This was his way of impacting Andrew and making him know that he isn't in control. Black people's hair is a way of identification. It's my way of saying that I'm not going to conform. By us wearing our hair like this, it identifies us as people that cannot be messed with, that I'm not going to be straight. I'm not going to give you the easy way when it comes to dealing with me, at least. When I see people who put the wigs, the straight hair, and don't use their natural hair to define them, it lets me know that they're not comfortable with an aspect of them. And I'm not saying this is about everybody, but there are people that I know who to this day, and I have known them for over 10 years, and I've never seen their hair curl. I've never seen their natural hair. That's shocking, because that means you've gone 10 years hiding something that you were born with. Could you imagine spending 10 years of your life avoiding the fact that you were black?
What in the haberdashery and hemoglobin is going on here?
Andrew Johnson is going to be a great athlete, but past that, he's going to be an even better person for his experiences. And it sucks that his experiences came in such a negative light, but now he knows. Now he can protect himself. Now he can start doing things to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. So Andrew Johnson, I know you're a young man and you have no business being the leader that you're going to have to be now, but you're a beacon of hope. For every kid that wants to step on a man who has crazy good-looking hair like yourself, you're an ambassador now. I hope you never cut your hair. I hope you constantly wear it. I hope you feel comfortable enough to go to an interview where you're making $100,000 plus and tell them you need more with your crazy, beautiful hair. I hope you never back down. I hope from now on you never let anyone touch your hair in a negative light. I hope you continue to grow. I hope you continue to be the man I hope you will be. That's all I can really hope for you, man. Because from my perspective outside looking in, you were doing just fine until the world got in your way. And unfortunately for you, the world hasn't figured out how the fuck to get out of your way yet.
I'm having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting shit but running out. I'm having trouble trying to sleep. As time ticks by, still I try.